Today I want to talk to the Sahajogis also because from this particular place there are very few people who have come, and most of you are Sahajogis who are trying to know many things which I didn't have sufficient time to explain to you. Now, I wanted first of all to tell you something about the sickness of the people, which perhaps I have not elaborately told you about how to cure people and how people suffer from different sicknesses. As we are now on the principle of the being, we must understand that sickness also comes if there is something wrong in the principle that builds up the human beings. So now basically there are two principles which affect the body, and the third principle affects the evolution. So the first principle of left-sided Ichha Shakti, or the desire, power, is if in danger, we develop lots of diseases due to lethargic organs. Left side is the tamasic side. Is the side where darkness is affecting people. Those people who live in too much darkness, or in the past, or in a sly way, in a hidden way, who are introverts, we can say in short, who spend their life mostly in a very closed quarters, or live with people who are extremely cautious and afraid of others, or people who do not talk much, or who avoid meeting people, who shun people. All such people are left-sided, are having gotten tamas. Such people are in their spiritual awareness or spiritual ascent, try to take to bhakti. They take to bhakti more. They worship God from their heart, from their emotions. They work through emotions. There are 24 types of relations they establish with God. That's called as bhakti relationship, we can say. And they dwell upon it, and all the time weep and cry and say, "Oh God, when will I meet you?" Such people are the ones who take dominations from others, suffer, sacrifice, and lead a life of great suffering. But in their expression, in their achieving God, they start doing bhakti. And they think through bhakti they will come to God. But with bhakti, God comes to them. Because of their bhakti, God comes to them and He incarnates. For the bhaktas, the ones who cry for God, He incarnates. So, there's nothing wrong with those people. Now, these people eat extremely imbalanced food as far as proteins are concerned. And in proteins, they are so weak that they might suffer from all lethargic muscles in everywhere. So you can see that these people suffer from cold, they suffer from diarrheas because the muscles are weak. They'll eat the food, the whole food will pass out as diarrhea. They'll have lethargic hearts, by which they will get a heart which will not pump the blood, swellings in the body. Also, they might get this gout and these troubles of the joints. They also get the lethargic liver, which gives them allergies. All kinds of allergies come to these people through their lethargic liver. So now you have to base all these troubles of lethargic organs of any kind on the left side. For example, a person whose eyes are open but he cannot see is also suffering from the same type of disease. These people are affected by the subconscious and the collective subconscious, from where the spirits attack them and they become involved into these spirits and they have a very bad sympathetic attitude towards themselves. They are themselves miserable and make everyone miserable because they get their ideas from these miserable, sly people and they cannot see anyone happy, nor do they keep happy themselves. They will make a big fuss out of their so-called troubles and sickness and problems and try to create as much problem as possible for others. But the problems are not aggressive. It is more by appealing to the sympathy, appealing to the weaknesses of others. And a person who stays with such people can also get affected if he tries to show sympathies with these people. Cancer, and what's that called? As muscular, that myelitis, what is it called? Huh? Muscular discrepancies and weaknesses in which the muscles become extremely weak gradually. And which other disease was that? Osteomyelitis, poliomyelitis, all these lethargic things that makes your even lungs lethargic. If your lungs are lethargic, then you get diseases like TB, tuberculosis. Tuberculosis comes from the left side. Now, those who are strict vegetarians, who don't eat any, even garlic and don't eat even onions and all that, are very vulnerable to the left-sided business. On top of that, if they are going to a guru who is left-sided, they are even worse. So one need not lead an abnormal life. One has to be a normal person, eating the right proportion of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. So this is one side of Sahaja Yoga in which you see that left-sided people have to be very, very careful and not to just assert themselves on that side. Many people come and argue with me because they said that in Gita it is written, they said so, I don't know, that tamasic people eat lot of meat. Is not true. Is not true. Tamasic people are the people, they are not bad people by any chance. They are one type, are the people who eat too much of carbohydrates. Because left side is hydrogen and carbon comes from Ganesha on the left hand side. So it's more carbohydrates. No question of eating too much of meat. But the right-sided people now have a very, very overactive, extremely overactive personality. Such a right-sided person is eating too much of proteins, all the time meats, this, that, and he becomes an overactive person, and such an overactive person receives a blessing of their ego, and a big ego develops. Such a man aggressively destroys others, the images of others, pulls them down, criticizes others, jumps on them, can be very hot-tempered, can be absolutely demonic. As I said before, Hitler is the example. Now, this type of people who eat too much of meat and too much of heavy food and develop muscular capacities too much more than a human being should have. Say they become like horses. Then they start behaving like horses, worse than horses. And that's why a person should not take too much of it, should keep to the center. All such people have overactive organs. Due to overactive organs, they develop a very bad heart, which is overactive, in which the heart pumps fast, palpitations take place. In lungs, he develops asthma. In his intestines, he develops constipation. He develops a very, very bad liver and a very unhealthy skin. The skin is extremely shallow, and such a person is very, very quarrelsome and aggressive. A person who leads a very ascetic life and of martyrdom. For example, many government servants think that they are doing a very great work of martyrdom for their country. But such people also become so conscious of that they are hot bricks. You just can't go near them. They are extremely hot-tempered. Or any person who leads a life of asceticism, of a severe type, like Vishwamitra, Durvasa, all these people, they all become so hot-tempered that you can't talk to them. They are very snappy, and their language is very sharp, and when they talk, you can feel that it's not a person who has any balance in him. But they look very brilliant and consider themselves to be very intelligent, but they are actually stupid people. Because they do all kinds of stupid things. They do such stupid things that anybody who is wise can see that they have no sense of proportion in doing anything that is against the whole. Such people are vulnerable to many diseases, like as I said, the heart, liver, cirrhosis of the liver, also diabetes, leukemia, kidney trouble, high blood pressure, uterus troubles. Such people can become barren women. They may not have children at all. Such women cannot have children. Especially women who are very, very flirtatious type and who think they are very beautiful, and also they are having a very active life, can become completely barren. Also, men can become something good for nothing people if they overdo things. If their attention is spent all the time in fulfilling their ambitions, they can become like that. So those people also who indulge too much into life and so-called enjoy life, waste their time in drinking and being with women and all that, they all can be ruined, not only by money, but also by their very bad health. Now, on the level of right heart, you know that such people may have very bad time with their children, may have bad time with their parents, and may have very bad time with their wives. At the level of right navi, they will have problems of digestion. They may have money, but they can never enjoy that money or can never think of living a life which is complete. At the level of the brain, they become ego-oriented. The ego can go that level that they can develop paralysis. Paralysis is possible in both the cases. Even the left side person can get it or the right side person can get it. But mainly people get it, the paralysis on the right side. It affects the left side of the body, but the paralysis comes from the right side. It comes from the left side, but affects the right side of the body. So there are two types of paralysis. One is the paralysis caused by too much of ego, another by super ego. Those who have lethargic temperament develop clots in their blood and low blood pressure. And these clots cause the paralysis also on the left hand side. The another one is caused by the damage to the brain on the right hand side by the overdevelopment of Mr. Ego within it. That's how we can summarize on the whole that the diseases of the physical side are caused by these two imbalances. Apart from that, we have the mental troubles with people. Like a left-sided person will have a mental problem, like he will be a sly person, he'll be a frightened person, he won't be talking to others, he will be nervous, he will not have self-confidence, he'll be running away from public, and also then he becomes schizophrenic, that he hibernates sort of thing in the house, becomes like a cabbage, you can say that kind of a lunatic he becomes. The another side of the right side is that such a person becomes right side. That person becomes a very hot-tempered an obnoxious person, absolutely. Such a person can be so cruel, he can be so troublesome that he would be really a challenge to the whole family, to the whole society, and he would be very distant. So this is the second problem, also is a mental case. Now such a person may not look mentally upset, the right-sided person, but when they grow old, they just talk. They'll go on talking so much that nobody can talk to them. You can't even open mouth before them. They go on, jisko Hindi mein kehte hain badbadana. They go on jabbering all the time, everything they are telling you. And quite relevantly they'll talk of God, of Atma, this, that. But just they are talking because they are so egoistical that they just go on talking, don't allow anybody to speak. And such horrible characters, if there is even one, you are in for trouble, because you get headaches from them and you get other problems that you don't know how to manage them, how to keep them decently in their proper places. So they are also in a way mental cases because they are not normal. So on mental side also we have problems of people who are egoistical or who are accepting domination from others and becoming sly. Sly people are good at spoiling the relations of each other by saying something, by carrying stories, by being sly, and so both of these kind, extreme type, are very injurious to a proper social life. Now, ego-oriented person has another very big problem, that he asserts his ideas about everything else. So, always such a man, because he's stupid and idiotic, the idiotic ideas survive. And because of idiotic ideas, every planning that is done by such people is a failure. So now we come to the central path of Sushumna. The central path of Sushumna is for the people who are in the center. The people who have their proper understanding and who have got their wisdom. These people are extremely generous. Generosity is the only way you can express your love to others. I have told you before also. All your material wealth and everything has no meaning unless and until you show generosity for the people. But it should be quiet and it should be absolutely silent. So the center people are extremely generous to begin with. They cannot retain food if they have it at somebody's house. Either they vomit or they'll have diarrhea. If they eat at a place where they should not have it, if it is not properly vibrated, if the food is not good, they will not eat the food. Even if they eat the food, they will vomit it. They are extremely kind and gentle. They do not suddenly jump on people and say, oh, you have a food that has got this and that. If it is so, they try to avoid not to eat, but sometimes they are crucified, all right, doesn't matter, they think, all right, I'll eat and throw it away. They are extremely wise and tactful. They know how to deal with people. They are extremely diplomatically gifted to please others and somehow or other bring them to the temple of God. The whole attitude of such people is to clean themselves, to keep them clean, to keep them all right, to get more and more people to this great work of realization. They never show up. I never see them before. They don't stick on. They don't show. They are not in front. They don't want to show their faces. They are quiet. I know who they are. But they are dynamic and they work it out. Only when they have to consult something important, they'll come and see me. I know the way they work out. Extremely silent and beautiful, gracious people there. And they also know how to handle others. They can sometimes get into temper, which is necessary if they have to protect the protocol of their mother, or could be the protocol of Sahaja and of God. Normally, they are very quiet and silent. Their presence is peaceful. Whatever house they enter, it is auspicious. Whatever shop they enter, prospers. Whatever person they talk to is beneficial. They are auspicious. They are blissful. They give blessings. Automatically. They don't have to say, I bless you. If they are there, they bless you. They never think of making money out of God's work. Never. Not a single point. They are so truthful. Not because they are afraid that if we make money, the thief will come and take away all our things. Not with the fear, but with the full confidence that what they are doing is the greatest happiness and joy. And their health-wise, they are more on the fatter side, I should say, because they have gas in their body, lot of gas. The prana shakti is in the center. In the prana enters into sushumna. That creates the gaseous body. The gaseous body is not heavy, it's very light. They walk very fast, they're active, but they look plump. Normally. If they are not, they try to be plump. They want to be plump. They want to find out what's wrong with their livers so that they could be plump. They are rather on the plump side. Their main disease is their excretion. And their all kinds of vomiting and all that. For example, a person who eats a wrong type of food or a wrong type of liquid has to immediately go and vacate it. This is their problem. Another problem they may develop, that if they have taken too much vibrations, they may develop a swelling on their body. Under these circumstances, first of all, they should find out if they are in the neighborhood of somebody who is anti-God. Because such swellings are developed when the vibrations are fighting an anti-God activities of the person who is with you. Say your wife is negative. Then such a person might develop a swelling because his vibrations are fighting the woman. He should mind that fighting. But he must know how to correct the woman. He must know how to put her right. Or the man, if he's like that, the woman might develop an anti-devil force within her, which will give her that swelling. Different types of swellings might appear with the vibrations jetting out with a great speed. They might develop arthritis if they don't give vibrations, or pain in the joints. The other problem they may have is of very low breathing, low blood pressure because of parasympathetic activity. And when they are fighting with the anti-God activities, they might feel tired also sometimes. But again they recruit and they feel alright. At every center, if the vibrations start flowing too much, then all these people may develop, I would say, a kind of a suction or emission of vibration, depending on the quality of the person who is facing them. And when such a thing happens, they can easily correct it by giving a bandhan. And in case they find the vibrations are too much, then they can ask another Sahajogi to take out the vibrations from a particular chakras and give it to the atmosphere. They may suffer from the throat trouble. Also may suffer from the drying up of the liquid in the body if they have to fight the anti-God elements very much. So a kind of a dryness can develop in their peritoneum or maybe in their tracts which are covering them. That's why it's nice for them to eat some ghee or butter. They must rub their fingers and the hands and all these places with ghee or butter to soothe it down. Because the heat from the other people also can make them dried up. At the Agya level, they may sometimes develop a headache with people who are very much caught up on the Agya, on the right side. It's important at this time to give up on that to yourself and to the other person who is very egoistical. And don't listen to them. Just close your ears and the person will stop talking. Also, they might develop some pressures on both the sides of the head. Sometimes when the Kundalini cannot rush upward, there's an obstruction on the Agya, then you might feel the pressure on this brain plate. At that time, they should try to bring the grace on top of all the sympathetic systems, bring it down, stand on the Mother Earth, ask her to suck it. So the Kundalini's pressure is reduced because when the grace comes on the body, then all the chakras open up and also Agya opens. If they have problem with their Agya, they should use a candle at the back if their eyesight is getting weak or short-sighted. If their Agya is too much here, there are mantras which have to be used, like I forgive everyone and all that. On the subtler way, you know all the mantras that are to be said. If a Sahaja finds the Sahasrara catching, then he should take a bath in the sea, I don't know where he should take a bath. Because Sahasrara is my place, as you know. And to catch the Sahasrara is a very serious thing for a surgeon. He might develop a Ekadasha with that and he'll be in trouble, and then he'll come and tell me that, Mother, though I was a Sahaja, I was praying on your photograph and all that, still I got this trouble. The reason is, when you are a Sahaja, you have to recognize me. That's the condition. Taking too much advantage of me is also like that. Too much sticking on to me also you might get this Ekadasha. Must keep on. Too much pressurizing me, you will get it. And if you start challenging me, you will catch on Sahasrara and then don't blame me. Only in Sahaja, if you could rise and ascend and try to recognize me, I will have no problem, you will have no problem.